So what you're witnessing is the NYPD searching out, like literally targeting and dragging a protester who apparently wasn't doing anything but standing in the middle of the fucking street during an active protest. And yeah, they do this all the time. Office of the Chief of Department. This happens every time there's a major protest in New York, by the way. Like, they've perfected the strategy of highlighting individuals that they think are making too much noise or are amping up the crowd. I mean, people have certain roles during protests. Some people are naturally good at amping up a crowd. So the police don't like people like that. So what they do is they search out the so-called instigators and drag them off after a vicious and brutal beating in front of the entire protest. It's intimidation, and they do it all the time. Do you really need all those pigs for one guy? Of course they do, because pigs are cowards. Note how they form this court. See, when you watch videos of the police doing shit like this, you should make it a point to like take note of the tactics that they're using. Like, how are they kettling? Like, they've basically formed a cordon around this individual that they're arresting to prevent an attempted de-arrest. Something that we also saw a lot last year was when they literally form a crossbow shape to go in, grab the person, and then push them behind the line of pigs to prevent their being rescued. So they're pretty hip to the strategy of de-arrest that a lot of comrades have rightfully adopted, and their goal is to avoid that from happening because it makes them look weak. And if there's one thing that cops hate, it's looking weak, even though they tend to do that in spite of themselves. The protest was for the release of Mahmoud Khalil, who I'm going to talk about in just a few seconds. Happy National Skirt Day. I did not know that there is a National Skirt Day. I learn something new every day from you guys. The NYPD is one of the largest standing armies in the world, by the way, if we define army as a force that has a monopoly on violence. If New York City were independent, their police force would be one of the largest standing armies in the world. No, I have not worn a skirt before. Also, I would really advise comrades, like, when you're looking at videos of protests, quit armchair quarterbacking. Why didn't they de-arrest? Why are you just standing there screaming? Like, bruh, like you weren't there. So yeah, see, now they're surrounding the car to prevent people from freeing the guy from the car. So the protest is over there, so they've dragged him behind his cordon of pigs to prevent him from being liberated. That's what they do. So what the fuck is happening? Well, Mahmoud Khalil, one of the leaders of the encampment movement, which rose to prominence at Columbia University in Harlem, New York City, was detained for no reason whatsoever on Saturday. He was detained by the Department of Homeland Security at an apartment building that's owned by Columbia University. According to attorneys, at around 8:30 p.m., Khalil and his wife, who is 8 months pregnant, had just unlocked the door to their building when two plainclothes DHS agents pushed in behind them. So they broke into this guy's house. The agents allegedly did not identify themselves at first, so if he was in a stand your ground state and he shot the shit out of these dudes, the case can be made that he was in the right. Like, you don't identify yourself, but you just barge into the house. You were hiding by my apartment door, and me and my pregnant wife opened the door to enter our residence, and you barged in and you shoved the door open behind us. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot the shit out of you. Yeah, you're fucked, bro. Like, they did not identify themselves. So they proceeded to tell Khalil's wife. Oh, another thing. People who are intent on breaking into people's houses to steal things or commit rape and murder and other such unpleasantries and atrocities, a lot of times they play the police. Huey P. Newton actually wrote something about this. Hold on. Huey P. Newton, Executive Order. Number 3. Executive Mandate number 3. So let this be heard. Because of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of February 14th, 1929, in which outlaws donned the uniforms of policemen. These are plainclothes that got Khalil. But the statement's still good. Donned the uniforms of policemen, posed as such, and thereby gained entrance to locked doors controlled by rival outlaws with whom they were contending for control of the bootlegging industry in Chicago. And because these gangsters, gaining entry through their disguise as policemen, proceeded to exterminate their rivals with machine gun fire, we believe that prudence would dictate that one should be alert when opening one's door to strangers late at night or in the wee hours of the morning. Never mind somebody literally barging into your fucking apartment behind you. Even when these strangers wear the uniform of policemen, or in this case, are just random-looking motherfuckers, plainclothes cops. Plainclothes cops are honestly the most evil idea in the history of an evil industry, aka bourgeois law enforcement. Like, why the fuck would you be plainclothes? You're either trying to entrap people, or you are trying to dupe people and play on their relative lack of guile to do all types of horrible shit. History teaches us that the man in the uniform may or may not be a policeman authorized to enter the homes of the people. Taking notice of the fact that on January 16, 1968 at 3:30 a.m., members of the San Francisco Police Department kicked down the door and made an illegal entry and search of the home of Eldridge Cleaver, rest in piss, Minister of Information, unfortunately. These pigs had no search warrant nor arrest warrant and therefore were not authorized to enter. They were not invited in. Permission for them to enter was explicitly denied by Mr. Cleaver. Present were Sister Kathleen Cleaver, our Communications Secretary and wife to our Minister of Information, and Brother Emory Douglas, who, if I recall correctly, is still alive, our revolutionary artist. If you've studied Black Panther Party art, or if you've seen Black Panther Party art, Emory Douglas and his comrades were responsible for it. Taking further notice of the fact that, too, on February 25th, 1968, several uniformed Gestapo officers of the Berkeley Pig Department, accompanied by several other white men in plainclothes, bearing an assortment of shotguns, rifles, and service revolvers, made a forceful, unlawful entry and search of the home of Bobby Seale, who is also still alive. I believe he is the only remaining original founding member of the Black Panther Party, chairman of our party, and his wife, Sister Artie Seale. These pigs had no warrant either to search or to arrest. When asked by Chairman Bobby to produce a warrant, they arrogantly stated that they did not need one. Illegal. They had no authority to enter. What they did have was the power of the gun. Thus, we were confronted with a critical situation. Our organization has received serious threats from certain racist elements of white America, including the Oakland, Berkeley, and San Francisco Pig Police Departments. Threats to take our lives, to exterminate us. Sound familiar? We cannot determine when any of these elements, or a combination of them, may move to implement these threats. We must be alert to the danger at all times. We will not fall victim to a St. Valentine's Day massacre. Therefore, those who approach our doors in a manner of outlaws who seek to enter our homes illegally, unlawfully, and in a rowdy fashion, those who kick our doors down with no authority and seek to ransack our homes in violation of our human rights will henceforth be treated as outlaws, as gangsters, as evildoers. We have no way of determining that a man in uniform involved in a forced outlaw entry into our home is in fact a guardian of the law. He is acting like a lawbreaker, and we must make an appropriate response. So why did I read all that? Because just because somebody says that they're a cop, that doesn't mean that they're a cop. People disguise themselves and play the police all the time to engage in all types of activity, as the St. Valentine's Day massacre demonstrated. The agents proceeded to tell Khalil's wife that if she did not leave her husband, mind you, this lady is 8 months pregnant, if she did not leave her husband and go into the apartment, they would arrest her too. The agents claimed that the State Department had revoked Khalil's student visa, which has not happened, with one agent presenting what he claimed was a warrant on his cell phone, which may or may not be an actual warrant. But Khalil, according to advocates, has a green card. Khalil's wife went to their apartment to get the green card. He has a green card, an agent apparently said on the phone. So you've barged your way into this man and his wife's apartment. You've put this pregnant lady in intense emotional distress, and you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. You have a warrant on your cell phone. You're supposed to have a printed copy of the warrant signed by a judge. You are supposed to display and present this warrant upon request. You cannot just go into people's houses and drag them off in the middle of the night. I was about to say this is not Nazi Germany, but we're actually are Nazi Germany. Like the Nazis learned all their shit, how to behave, how to carry out their programs of repression, even the concentration camps from the United States. The concentration camps, the death camps, were based on American reservations. The OGs, the big bads, they learned from the United States. So you barged your way into this man and his wife's home with a warrant on your cell phone. You didn't even know that this man has a green card. And then after a moment, coming up with a lie, you claim that the State Department has revoked that too. Meantime, Khalil, who knows legal first aid, had been on the phone with his attorney, Amy Greer, who was trying to intervene, asking why he was being detained, if these individuals, who may or may not have been police officers, nobody knew at the time. These could have just been fucking burglars. These could have been fascist vigilantes. Like in my state, somebody literally tried to kidnap a woman claiming that he was an ICE agent. So his attorney, Miss Greer, was asking if they had a warrant and explaining that Khalil had a green card. The attorney had circled back to demanding to see a warrant, an actual piece of paper signed by a judge, when the agents hung up the phone on his attorney. Khalil is currently being held in an ICE detention center in Louisiana, per the ICE detainee tracker. Ms. Greer said, "We will vigorously be pursuing Mahmoud's rights in court, and we will continue our efforts to right this terrible and inexcusable and calculated wrong committed against him." So this news agency, Zetio, called the White House, which did not respond to a request for comment. Later, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin confirmed in a statement that ICE detained Khalil in support of President Trump's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism. Without providing evidence, McLaughlin claimed that Khalil led activities aligned to Hamas. So let me get this straight. Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, all types of literal hate groups that have a history of committing violent acts against black people, against Jewish people, against indigenous people, against Catholics, against anybody who does not fit their notion of what an American is supposed to be. Those groups are protected. They're allowed to march in the streets. They aren't threatened with deportation. Trump is literally trying to bring in hundreds of thousands of white South African Boers, Afrikaners, who do not necessarily have the greatest history of racially progressive views, never mind anti-Semitic views. These people are basically reactionary to the bone, but you want to bring them into the country, but you want to deport this man illegally. Like this is serious shit, yo. They literally called this man out. They dragged this man away from his pregnant wife, away from his university-owned apartment in the middle of the night for no legal reason. And then this is an official United States government. See this little check? An official United States government social media organ, the White House. This is their response. Shalom, Mahmoud. This is, so you kidnap this man in the middle of the night and then you troll him. This man is sitting in Louisiana in an ICE detention facility, and this is your response. You are the president of the United States. This is your official social, this is the White House, okay? Saying this. There is no evidence. See this? This is the White House at the bottom. Official United States government logo. Mahmoud Khalil. You have a picture of this man. Why do you have a picture of this man? You just pardoned 1,500 people who literally stormed the fucking United States Capitol. You gave all of these people a blanket pardon, and shitloads of them are being arrested. They got Enrique Tarrio for fighting with the woman on the Washington Mall or something like that. These people are getting in shootouts with the pig, all types of shit. So you blanket pardon all these guys. But this man who has committed no crime whatsoever is detained, and then do you have a price on the guy's head? Arrested by ICE on March 9th, 2025. Led activities aligned to where is your evidence? Where is your proof? How has he provided material support for Hamas? And this was, again, the President of the United States, official social media. Following my previously signed executive orders, ICE proudly apprehended and detained Mahmoud Khalil, a radical foreign pro-Hamas student on the campus of Columbia University. This is the first arrest of many to come. We know there are more students at Columbia and other universities across the country who have engaged in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity, and the Trump administration will not tolerate it. Many are not students, they are paid agitators. Again, I've been to many protests. I've organized many protests. I have not been paid for a single one. We will find, apprehend, and deport these terrorist sympathizers from our country, never to return again. If you support terrorism, including the slaughtering of innocent men, women, and children, so again, you want to bring the Boers in. Have you ever heard of the AWB? Have you ever heard of Eugene Terreblanche? Have you ever heard of any of these radical, racist South African fascist groups? But you want to bring people with this history in? You want to bring them and you want to resettle them in the United States. You want them to buy land. You want them to buy farms. You want them to buy beautiful houses in the suburbs. They're totally not going to form militias and start harassing black people who were born here. No. This is just ludicrous. And then, again, these people always posture themselves as defenders of freedom of speech, freedom of reactionary speech. We expect every one of America's colleges and universities to comply. Thank you. This is dictatorial as hell. But again, Ilhan Omar, she said on Twitter yesterday, I believe, that this is not what America is. I love sis, but sis is wrong. This is what America has always been. Trump is just open about it. That's the deal. Trump is open about what he's doing. Trump is open about, he is an open fascist. But again, dumb motherfuckers keep believing that, America isn't a fascist country because it doesn't come from the fascismo region of Spain. No. Tonight. Guess where the ICE agent who arrested Mr. Khalil was on the night of the State of the Union address?
Law enforcement heroes.
Sitting in Congress.
ICE Special Agent Elvin Hernandez. When Elvin...
So this was a few years ago because Pelosi was the Speaker of the House. She is no longer. She is moldering away somewhere. But what do you call a group of people, of individuals who are rewarded by the president? Like by what stretch of the imagination should a random ICE agent be the official guest of the President of the United States in his State of the Union speech? Like, why is this guy there? What do you call a group of people who respond to the whims and diktats of a wannabe dictatorial leader? And I'm not even saying this in a Democrat, like, oh my God, Trump, Orange Man, Cheeto, dictator. Like, no, this is literally fascist dictator type shit. So what do you call a group of people who respond to and are rewarded for following the personal diktats of der Führer? A Gestapo. This is a Gestapo agent. Like, why is this guy being applauded?
The United States family legally immigrated to the United States from the Dominican Republic.
Of course he's Dominican. No offense to my Dominican comrades, but y'all are basically the FBAs of Latinos.
At the age of 8, Elvin told his dad he wanted to become a special agent.
Yeah, he's special, all right. Ugh. So there is a fundraiser Justice for Mahmoud Khalil urges support needed. It was only launched a few hours ago. They've already raised almost 25 grand. So, yeah, why do they need money? Because Mahmoud's arrest is part of a broader crackdown on pro-Palestinian students and activists, particularly at Columbia University. Before his detention, he was targeted by a coordinated spear campaign, with individuals falsely framing his activism as criminal behavior. Now he is facing potential deportation and inhumane treatment and detention far from his pregnant wife and their home. And again, they did not even know where this guy was until early today. They thought he was in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and he's all the way to fucking Louisiana. Why is he in Louisiana? Like, there are ICE facilities in New York City. There are ICE facilities in New Jersey. Hell, take them to D.C. Why? Because they are judge shopping. Okay, like a federal judge in New York City already said that, hey, you can't just fucking boot this guy out of the country. That would be illegal. That's fascist dictatorship bullshit. So they took him to the South because the South has what are known as hanging judges who don't give a shit. They're going to look, brown. Yeah, kick him out. So they're judge shopping. So they're trying to find this. They're trying to find somebody. They're trying to stall the process. They broke the law at every stage of this operation. They're going to be eaten alive in court. Well, they're going to be eaten alive in court for many reasons because, like, I think Doge has had all of their documents subpoenaed. Yes, Haiti are the ones who granted the Dominican Republic independence after a shitty war, but yeah. So Mahmoud needs money because he needs to have strong legal representation and resources for his case, bail and bond assistance if required, ensuring Mahmoud can be released as soon as possible, family support. This man has a pregnant wife and unborn child at home, medical and health-related needs. They need, like, healthcare expenses for Mahmoud and his family, and long-term justice efforts. Support future efforts to hold those responsible for his unlawful detention accountable. Because obviously there is going to be a lawsuit. An American slogan is, when in doubt, sue the bastards. And Mahmoud is going to sue the shit out of these people, as he should, because this was illegal. Illegal. From root to branch. Y'all donated money to Luigi? Donate money to somebody that actually needs it. Free Luigi, by the way. But again, Luigi's rich, Mahmoud ain't. So, back to this. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that both Trump and Marco Rubio called this dude out by name. By fucking name. Like, I have never seen that happen. Never. During the Black Lives Matter protest, during the George Floyd uprising, I've never seen Trump refer to an individual, like literally, with a wanted poster, with a bounty poster, saying, oh, yeah, we got you, shalom. Never. This is a game changer. So this is the official Twitter account of the Department of Homeland Security. On March 9th, 2025, it supported President Trump's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism, and in coordination with the Department of State, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested Mahmoud Khalil, a former Columbia University graduate student. Khalil led activities aligned to Halal. There is no evidence. Look, I don't know if you all know this. I don't know if any of you all have actually been to a pro-Palestine protest, but like, if you show up to an average pro-Palestine protest being like, yeah, long live Hamas. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's do some fucked up shit. Like, most of us would probably think you're a pig of some type. Okay, yes, there have been many, many speeches. There have been many, many statements in solidarity with and upholding the Palestinian armed resistance, as there should be. But nobody at any of these rallies has provided material support to Hamas, because we all know that is illegal. We all know that RICO is a thing. Nobody is raising money for the armed resistance. Okay? Nobody. That is something that has not happened. If it goes to court, they're not going to be able to find a single shred, a single iota of evidence that people are funding designated terrorist organizations. What fascists always do is they take what you actually do and they stretch it as far as it'll go. As far as it'll go to convince their brain-dead base that this is what's actually happening. Knowing full well that their brain-dead base is thoroughly incapable of doing their own research. They believe whatever the Fuhrer says. So, a substantial percentage of the American population now believes that that Mahmoud is a terrorist. That he's literally out there rolling with the fucking, he's literally out there rolling with Hamas. Even if he was, that would be based. So that you kidnap this man and then you troll him. The most terminally online administration in American history. The most terminally online administration in American history. Are Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries trying to get Mahmoud Khalil out of ICE detention and ensure the security of his green card status? Of course not. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Like the Democrats have been echoing this shit. Like they're basically trying to outdo each other in terms of kissing Zionist ass. You have you have fucking Fetterman. The only time you get him to put a fucking suit on is when Netanyahu comes to town. They just arrested Duterte in the Philippines, by the way, on an ICC warrant. Why can't they do that to Netanyahu? This has even attracted the attention of the PFLP, who is very good at monitoring what's going on over here. The entire Palestinian resistance is as well. So the Popular Front condemns the repressive crackdown in American universities. The Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, PFLP, the fucking boys, the red boys, strongly condemns the systematic repression carried out by U.S. authorities against students and activists supporting Palestine, most recently exemplified by the mass arrests of students at Columbia University and other institutions. This crackdown, accompanied by threats of deportation and revocation of residency status, exposes the true fascist nature of the U.S. administration under Trump. So you literally have the communists in the resistance who are saying that Trump, the United States, all this shit that's going on is fascist. But again, we have so-called leftists who are really morons, who are about as left as my left foot, saying that, no, America's not fascist. We're something, a different thing that somehow always mysteriously manages to be another secondhand term for fascism. Call shit what it is. Call shit what, like, people will respect you. People are always asking, why doesn't the left have any respect among average working class people? It's because we're so fucking mealy-mouthed, we can't call what's actually happening what it is for whatever reason. I think it has something to do with our petty bourgeois academic university training. Like, at university, they teach you how to talk around things. Being direct is seen as being aggressive, as being hostile. No, this is fascism. This is fascism. That's what this is. You do not have to make up new words. You do not have to write whole fucking senior theses about what this is, because it's fascism. We've seen this before. We developed it. This country developed it. Sorry, I'm still in a bad African-American habit of referring to the United States as we. You shouldn't do that, because you don't want to burn in hell with this country. They developed fascism. The Nazis learned from here. Okay? We affirm that these repressive measures will not intimidate the free, nor will they deter courageous voices from continuing to support the Palestinian cause. On the contrary, they further reveal to the world the extent of the U.S. administration's subservience to the Zionist entity and its efforts to silence any voice that oppose war crimes and massacres committed against our people in Gaza and the West Bank, while condemning the direct American support for Zionist genocide. We call on all progressive forces, human rights organizations, and student unions in the United States and worldwide to take urgent action to expose this crackdown and support the detainees and those facing deportation. We also demand that international human rights institutions intervene immediately to halt these arbitrary measures, which violate the most basic principles of human rights and freedom of expression. Freedom for all detainees, together against American Zionist repression. The Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine Central Media Department issued yesterday. It's 1:20 in the morning here. But while you have real shit that's going on, you have stupid motherfuckers that are saying shit like this. So he's talking about the Gullah Geechee people. Gullah literally is derived from Angola, a historical national cultural region in South Central Africa. Okay? But let's see what idiot has to say here. This pretendian.
To debunk it and tell you its lies, but we're going to talk about these Gullah Geechee people and how they are not African, first of all, and how
the Gullah Geechee are actually the most African people in the United States. They're mostly descended, if I recall correctly, from Angola people, Congo people, and Igbo people. As a matter of fact, there's a really, really interesting tale about it's called Igbo's Landing. The Igbo are a very large ethnic group, a nation in what is now Nigeria. They also had a pretty bloody secessionist war, the Republic of Biafra, which was crushed. But anyways, the Igbo were known for resistance to attempts at enslavement. So they tried to smuggle some Igbo people over here from Africa, if I recall correctly, after slavery was banned. So they landed the ship in the black of night, and they brought the people off the ship for seasoning. Basically, they would beat the shit out of you, change your name, do all that shit you saw in Roots. So the Igbos did not want to submit to slavery, so they agreed amongst themselves that they would wade into the water and drown themselves. So that is the heritage of the Gullah Geechee people. They are African to the bone. They are literally genetically and culturally the most African people in the United States. And they also have their own dialect. Clarence Thomas is actually Gullah Geechee, but he is Tom, and he doesn't want to speak his Creole. He's afraid of how his voice sounds. To be fair, a lot of people like that speak Creole languages, they did the same thing to the Welsh and the Scotch and other people. Scots, I'm sorry. And no, the Geechee are a little bit further south. Okay, so the Geechee, the Gullah Geechee, are centered around like the Sea Islands, the low country of South Carolina, not Washington, D.C. They did wage a very, very, very brutal, like basically maroon war. There were a lot of Gullah Geechee maroons. Um, if you read the book Dixie Be Damned, which I have behind me somewhere in this massive pile of books, it talks about like how after the Civil War, they basically took over a whole ass county in Georgia, if I recall correctly. Ogeechee unto death. But yeah, I personally think fast food and chemicals cause so many of these crazies. No, these hoteps, they're pretty good on not eating fast food and chemicals.
How the name derived from the Americas and from Indians in America, melanated Indians.
Melanated Indians. Okay, so if you're actually indigenous, you know that the term Indian is offensive. Granted, I do know a lot of indigenous comrades who have reclaimed the term, for example, the Indian, like literally the letters NDN collective. But like most indigenous people that I know are aware of the negative history of the term. So why are you calling yourself Indian?
And also how the lies happen. So, if you want to know who these people are, you try to figure out who were the people who made.
No, all of these videos are like this. They have this weird ethereal music playing, and then they always like, I am the repository of hidden knowledge. And they always obfuscate. Like there's no actual facts to make their points. It's just like, oh, they don't want you to know about this. And if you try to challenge these people on any of this stuff, then they get mad at you. Like, oh, you ain't woke, brother. You don't know what you're talking about. You are real melanated. And like, I'm not indigenous. Okay, I'm not indigenous. I think my mom has like 1% indigenous ancestry. Do we claim it? No, because we did not grow up on reservations. I did not grow up on an indigenous reservation. I am not in any indigenous American culture, even though I have a fraction of indigenous blood. It really doesn't matter. And all the indigenous comrades I've talked about, it's not about blood anyways. It's about culture. Where you raised around other indigenous people? Like, are you keyed in to our tradition? Like, that's what a lot of indigenous people care about. But again, like it's all this blood quantum, like it's fucking it's bullshit. It's white folks bullshit. I highly encourage you to follow Britt Chapman, indigenous progressive lawyer on Twitter. Well, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But yeah, he has he's posted a lot about this. But
first contact with them, who were those people? That would be the people who were with Hernando de Soto in the 1500s.
Hernando de Soto.
This is a letter retranslated from 1539 in his words about what happened through his expedition. Not too far in this later.
Let's read this. They have no product of minds, No other thing that we have in this part of the world. The men go naked, and the women in a short cloak made of a kind of palm leaf, split and woven. They are subjects of Carlos and pay a tribute of all the things I have before mentioned: food and roots, the skins of deer, and other articles. The auditor Lucas Vasquez, a resident of Santo Domingo, and 600 townsmen of his, I think, left there with vessels of which some Indians of the island of Yaga, at the end of the Lucayo Islands, the Bahamas, gave account to see the river and land of Santa Elena. 7 leagues to the north of these is a town, which instead of pronouncing Orista, they who went there called it Chicora, and the other town for Huale they said Hualdape. The Spaniards saw no more towns, for they explored no further, did not enter nor examine the coast in earnest, for fear of striking their vessels and getting them lost. Thus they accomplished no more, although it is true that it's neither gold or silver that is to be got there, as they are found in only places remote. It is said that 60 leagues inland towards the north there are regions of gold and copper, and along the banks of the river and by lakes or towns, Otapali, Ogatamo, Olagatamo, and many others. The inhabitants are...
Letter, page 35, you get where they call, you see Guale, and they said Gualdape. There's Luke.
Oh my God. You're using a... You're using a translated Spanish document to make the argument that the obviously African Gulagichi people are really the Guale people. And it's not a people, that's a bro. Are you? Who has time? Who has time to sit and make up shit like this? This is the work of Salvia. This is the work of a weird ass strain of weed.
Lucas
Also, charge your fucking phone or iPad.
Vasquez. He is an auditor sent from Santo Domingo, so he was coming from the Bahamas area, or the DR.
Santo Domingo. Oh, okay.
And 6 other men, and they went out there and they said the Indians showed them where to go, and they said that there was 7 leagues or whatever, and they went around there and they couldn't pronounce the name of these towns, so they pronounced one that was called Oritza, Chicora, and the other one they pronounced Guale, they pronounced it Gualdape. So they knew the Indians called it that.
Okay, so how the fuck does Huale sound like Gullah Geechee?
They were there looking for gold and such. Now this is the Guale area. This map comes from, appreciate it, Empress sent me this map. And this is also the Guale little island right here as well. But this was known as the Guale or Gullah. On another map, similar thing.
Again, how do you get Gullah Geechee from Guale? So you sit and you pore over these old Spanish maps and expedition manifests, and you play word games and semantics in your little pinched head, and you come to the wildest fucking conclusions.
It actually points out the Ogeechee River, the Guale Geechees, the Gullah Geechees.
This is dumb. These people, I don't know what is wrong with my people. Here's some more stupidity. So this guy who is in Philly somewhere does something. So he says that it's really amazing in response to this very moderate demand. Stop condemning and go on strike. Again, words of wind. People have been, like the Palestinian trade unions, have literally been saying, hey, we appreciate your statements, but hey, why don't you guys go on strike? Aren't you guys supposed to be the workers' movement in the United States? Maybe consider striking. And this guy, who is apparently the Palestinian understander, I think this is the only time he's ever worn a keffiyeh, says it's really amazing how such a large portion of the left just has no idea whatsoever how unions work or what it takes to move a supermajority of workers. Bro. Okay. Every time unions and their fuckery in the United States come up, I always refer people to the history of the Dodge Revolutionary Union movement, DRUM. And there were several other Revolutionary Union movements. You had the Eldon Avenue Revolutionary Union movement. Like, there's literally a whole book about it. It's called Detroit, I Do Mind Dying. There's also a very good movie called, what's the name of that fucking movie? Anyways, I'll come up with it later. But, you know what? I'm going to come up with it now. Detroit Revolutionary Union. Finally got the news. There you go. And it's right here with German subtitles. But yeah, check it out. So you had a whole radical rebel black-led union movement against the UAW, aka You Ain't White Union, in Detroit in the 70s. The onset of crippling neoliberalism, because the UAW was racist as fuck and would not grant their black union brothers the same play as they would their Polish and Italian and Irish and whatever other white ethnic union brothers. So they had to rebel. Like this is the time where you rebel. This is not the time to worry about supermajority or fuck how unions work. Okay, fuck how unions work. People are dying. People are dying. A man literally was just dragged away from his family in the middle of the night for no reason, and you're talking about, I don't know, you guys don't know how unions work, what it takes to move a supermajority of workers to strike. Shut the fuck up. If not now, when? We were all on cattle cars being loaded into concentration camps. Is that when you'll finally clip off your ass? Maybe we should have done something, but then by then it'll be too late. Well, it's never too late because I'm black. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with this dude, but I keep seeing these stupid, like, do you not know how? Fuck you, okay? Fuck this. Fuck this opinion. Fuck your opinion. You should not be worried about how things work. Things cannot work as normal because we are not in normal times. Even under normal times, shit sucked. No wonder you have a devil by your name. Wouldn't even call OP a Palestinian solidarity effort, even sarcastically, as they're working their chapter. Relevant international committees was wearing a keffiyeh to a single event where we onboarded him before showing up to zero meetings or events, including a Gaza fundraiser. So yeah, fucking clout chasers. So this, yeah. He's in Jinnah LaSalle detention facility. If I recall correctly, Jinnah has a pretty gross history. They did something to some black kids at the school, or there was a lynching or something down there. But I do remember hearing Jinnah, Louisiana, maybe 15 years ago. But yeah, something horrible happened down there. And this guy, Mr. Khalil, reached out to his university. Here's the thing that gets me. Also follow Prip Thacker. But this is what gets me. Colonized people, people like Comrade Mahmoud, black people, brown people, indigenous people. We break our necks trying to get into these elite institutions only to be treated like shit. We get put out for saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be investing our university endowment into genocide. Maybe we should be investing in Boeing and Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and helping to splatter Palestinian babies' brains against the wall. And for that, occupying buildings that you pay for with your tuition dollars. For that, you get arrested, you get beaten, you get sanctioned, you get suspended, you get barred from campus. How the fuck are they going to bar you from campus and you pay to go there? Or your parents go to pay? Somebody pays for you to go there. And it's going to be like, oh, you can't come on campus anymore. We're going to kick you out of your housing. We're going to make you homeless. We're going to bring ICE to school and lock you the fuck up. We'll give you the option to finish your classes from prison. Like, we bust our asses to get to these schools. There's no DEI, affirmative action bullshit. We get to go to these schools because we're fucking smart. We're in the library day after day after day after day. We do test prep. We do all the shit these white folks tell us we should do to be successful in their society. And this is how they treat us. Do they not realize how this radicalizes people? Do they not realize that this is what makes people be like, you know what, fuck the system, burn it all to the ground? Every revolutionary, nobody drops out of their parents' womb, out of their mom's womb, a revolutionary, okay? There was a time in every radical revolutionary's life where they're like, you know what, okay, I'm going to go vote for Obama. You know what, maybe Obama might change shit. My political development came a bit earlier than a lot of you guys, but like, I voted for Obama in 2012, okay? Like, we don't just drop out of our mom's wombs Marxist-Leninist Maoists. What radicalized me? Ferguson. Seeing my Brown dead in the fucking street for 4 hours. Everybody has a story like that. How many communists have been made over the past 2 years? Quite a bit. Because of shit like this. This man asked Colombia to protect him. He emailed Katrina Armstrong, the interim president of Colombia, on March 7th, 2 days before he was illegally detained. Since yesterday, I've been subjected to a vicious, coordinated, and dehumanizing doxing campaign led by Columbia affiliates Shai Davidai and David Lederer. Shai Davidai is not an American citizen. If I recall correctly, he has the same immigration status as Mahmoud Khalil. He has been harassing. This guy's a professor at Columbia. He has been harassing and tormenting Palestinian and allied students for years. Why has he not been detained? Why is he not being subjected to deportation proceedings? Why is he not being dragged away from his family in the middle of the night? Makes you think, doesn't it? So these two individuals, both of which work for the school that, again, colonized people pay to go to, have labeled him as a security threat for no reason whatsoever and called for his deportation. Their attacks have incited a wave of hate, including calls for my deportation and even death threats. I have outlined the wider context below, yet Columbia has not provided any meaningful support or resources in response to this escalating threat. I haven't been able to sleep, fearing that ICE or a dangerous individual might come to my home. I urgently need legal support, and I urge you to intervene and provide the necessary protections to prevent further harm. So, Shai Davidai has been suspended from campus for harassing his colleagues and students, and he continues to crash out online. He has called Khalil a terrorist supporter, and he also tagged Marco Rubio, who directly mentioned Mr. Khalil by name. Bruh. I'm rarely speechless. But this shit is... It's not too much, but we got to get our shit together. We cannot just allow our people to be subjected to shit like this. We should not. So you have this institution, Beitar Worldwide, proud, fierce Zionists. Basically, this group is also a non-profit organization, so they're unable to get donations. And this man has been, they can't even spell his name for one. And this man has been subject to this type of harassment, and his university, the university that this man paid to go to, paid to graduate from. He's a grad student there. And they offered him no support. No support whatsoever. So this is a game changer. They should not be able to come to a comrade's house in the middle of the night. This is no aspersion being cast on the comrades in Columbia. This is no aspersions being cast on the comrades in New York City. Y'all are dope. Y'all are awesome. But we as a movement have to actually think about, if your comrade is receiving threats and shit like that, you need to be able to physically go to this man. You should not leave your comrade alone for 1 hour. For 1 hour if he's receiving this type of harassment. Never. We should be able to physically stop this shit from happening. But again, we learn through practice. I wouldn't say that the encampment movement failed. It literally received a call out from the Palestinian resistance. Macklemore has made 2 songs about it, if I recall correctly, Hins Hall and Fucked Up. No, I would not call the encampment movement a failure. If anything develops your political consciousness, if people's minds are advanced, and if communists are made, it is never a failure. And then we have to be dialectical. Things have 2 aspects. So yes, an encampment may be brutally broken up. But a positive aspect is now you have hundreds of people who now know how to fight. So, no. And again, we should also take note of the fact that more arrests are to come. Sacramento University cut ties with Israel due to encampments. So Trump is saying that more arrests are to come. So what Trump is doing, he doesn't care about the legality of shit. Okay? Fascists don't give a shit about anything, any laws except the laws that they make. So this man does not care about any law. He doesn't give a fuck about anything. So what Trump is doing, what his administration is doing, That's why he hand selected the ICE agent that was going to detain Khalil. So what Trump is doing is he's doing shit. He knows that it's going to be overthrown in the courts. Trump's movement is based around the aggrievement of these various groups that he's welded into this topsy-turvy coalition. Okay? So when the shit that he's doing is overturned in court, he's going to cry about, oh, Obama judges, liberals, they don't want us to achieve our goals. So this is going to radicalize his people further and further and further. That's how fascism works. That's how fascism works. It's a reactionary movement. They react to shit. They do shit. They don't know what they're doing. Actually, they do know what they're doing. So they do this stuff. They don't care if it's legal or not. They do it anyways. It gets overturned in the court, and now you have MAGA people targeting and threatening judges. That's how it works. So they sent this man, Mr. Khalil, to Louisiana for a reason. Okay? So the ACLU, they did a study. This study is dated August 26, 2024, about how migrants that have been detained are treated in Louisiana. So let's see. You have detention as deterrence. You have punitive jails masked as civil confinement. You have NOLA ICE jail conditions. You have people that are being alone and confused. So what are the human rights abuses at NOLA ICE jails? So they're mainly talking about New Orleans. Across all NOLA ICE facilities, officials have denied detained people of human rights based solely on inability to speak English. By law, ICE must ensure and detain people language access. So Khalil speaks English. So, but yeah, just page after page of shit that has happened. You have someone who speaks Oromo, and there were no Oromo interpreters. So the people would tell them, we can't help you because we can't find an interpreter in your language. There was no psychological evaluation, and they would just go and talk to the dude in English as if he can understand him. Yeah. So that's the type of shit that goes on in these prisons in Louisiana. That's where Mahmoud is right now. A State Department spokesman individually told Zideo that they cannot comment on individual visa cases, but the president and the official White House account is allowed to say stupid shit, like literally put a price on this man's head, make a wanted poster looking shit about him for no reason, but when pressed on it, that's what they always do. They always fucking dial back when they're pressed. This is political targeting. That's the sole reason why this shit is happening. This is political harassment. This is political targeting. That's literally all this is. There was no reason. You know what? Even if there was a legal reason to detain him, I really don't give a fuck. I don't care if he's an illegal immigrant. He's not, but I wouldn't care if he was. I wouldn't care if he wore a green headband everywhere he went. Okay? You know why? You know why? Because this world will not see peace until this country falls. It's really that simple. This world will not see any peace until America is kaput. That's simply how it is. So, you know what? I don't give a fuck. Let it all fall down. Let it all fall down. What will Justin Trudeau be known for? Being Fidel Castro's bastard. Look at this fucking Tom. These protests openly called to bring the Intifada home, called to bomb Tel Aviv, and openly sought to boost terrorist groups. These protests are a Trojan horse for radical. Okay, even if all of this was true, the First Amendment is still a thing. If the KKK and the Nazis can march up and down the street and shout racial slurs from the steps of the county courthouse, then by all means, you should be able to stand up and proclaim Hamas shall win. So a federal judge has temporarily blocked the deportation of, this guy hasn't even had a fucking trial yet. There's been no trial, there's been no hearing. But a federal judge has blocked the deportation, as we all knew they would, of Mahmoud ordering a hearing on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. at the Southern District of New York. The decision came after over 1 million people signed a petition calling for his freedom, and as thousands marched at the New York Federal Building. Khalil, a permanent resident, was detained by DHS agents who stated they were revoking his green card status. An attorney for Khalil reported his spirits are undaunted and that his arrest is a transparently unconstitutional targeting. Look, what people don't understand is that just because you are not a United States citizen, you still have constitutional rights. Okay? Like the Constitution still covers you. You cannot just drag somebody off in the middle of the night because they are not a citizen. People still have fucking rights. They're still human rights. His wife, who is 8 months pregnant, said, Mahmoud is my rock. He constantly puts his needs last when it comes to helping others. A true servant of the people. I need your help to bring Mahmoud home, so he is here beside me, holding my hand in the delivery room as we welcome our first child into the world. As we say in the Maoist movement, move heaven and earth.
Just got news that a judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's order for deportation. And it's because they know that the millions of people across this country are gonna rise up if they continue these illegal actions that are stripping our rights. It's not because they're benevolent. It's not because they just handed us our rights one day and they decided, yeah, let's keep it going. It's because we fought for our rights.
Hey, fucking man. So that's where we're at now. You have people being disappeared in the middle of the night for no reason because well-connected Zionists tag government officials. You have to be disappeared in the middle of the night, transported several states away, hoping to find a judge that will just deport them under the black of night without due process. And then you have the president of the United States and the official White House account saying this. This is where we're at. So how do you fight shit like this? Well, political education study. Read George Jackson. This book, Blood in My Eye, has pretty much all the answers that you need as to why the United States government is fascist, and offers many, many suggestions, many of which are quite spicy, as to how to fight them. Join an organization, whether it be PSL, whether it be Palestinian Youth Movement, whether it be DSA. You cannot be alone in this world, okay? It is becoming increasingly dangerous to not have a group of colleagues, a group of revolutionary comrades that you can rely on and that you can call upon in time of need. Community is essential. Community is essential. You cannot be alone in this world. You cannot be a communist and a misanthrope. You cannot be a communist that is not in an organization that functions communally. Because when that knock on the door comes for you, you need millions of people on your side. You need a movement. Otherwise, you are going to fall prey to Nacht und Nebel. Night and fog. That's what the Nazis called their program of disappearances. They also like to drag people off in the middle of the night. We don't need that to happen to you. We need everybody. Everybody. Because it's going to get much worse. We are what? January, February. 2 months into this administration. And already this is happening. Trump 1 was a dry run. He did not know what he was doing. They were constantly fighting and squabbling and beefing amongst each other. Now, he has the world's richest and stupidest boor on his side. He has J.D. Vance, an evil Cabbage Patch Kid, who's probably going to end up being president in 2028 because they're probably going to run Gavin Gecko from California or Tim Walz or some other ghoul, God forbid, John Fetterman. But again, you know what? Fetterman is the face of the Democratic Party. Democrats have shed all pretense they have of being progressive. The Democrats are basically what the Republicans were in the 60s and 70s. Okay? None of these people are going to come help you. None of these people are going to save you. None of these people give a shit about you. All these people are rich. People keep saying, well, what? I bet you miss Kamala. No. First of all, who misses the fucking vice president? Who misses do you miss Mike Pence? Do you miss Al Gore? Do you miss Dick Cheney? Do you miss Dan Quayle, who is somehow still alive? Like, nobody gives a shit about the vice president. Okay? Kamala is probably going to run for governor of California. She might win. She might not. Who gives a shit? Either way, she's still richer than you will ever be. She does not care about you. She does not think about you. She does not know who you are. So the imperative thing in surviving these tough times in which we live, in which we are going to continue to live, we still got 3 or so more years of this shit. And honestly, don't fool yourself. Okay? Trump is going to have the same impact on this country that Ronald Reagan did. We're going to be feeling this shit until this country collapses. So I strongly advise you to buckle yourself in. Join DSA. Join PSL. Join something. Join a leftist organization that's right, that you agree with. What I always tell people is, before you join an organization, don't just join an organization because your friends are in it. Don't just join an organization because your friends are in it. Don't just join an organization because you want to run protests. Don't just join an organization. Oh, you'll always have me. I ain't going no fucking where. Don't just join an organization because they gave you a flyer that you like. Do thorough research into shit that you join. Study. Go to study classes. Attend events. My STL DSA branch is holding a socialist night school on the Mass line tomorrow that I'm going to be facilitating. If you're in STL, I highly recommend that you check it out. The details are on our page. But yeah, shit like this is foolishness. He thinks Hakeem Jeffries, an individual who, if I recall correctly, is of 1/4 Cape Verdean descent. And there's plenty of reasons to hate Hakeem Jeffries, okay? He's an empty suit. He's an empty suit with a pink tie. But this idiot is claiming that a Caribbean immigrant... First of all, who gives a shit, okay? Who cares? This whole FBI, American descendants of slaves. Imagine if Irish Americans called themselves American descendants of famine. Like, this shit has to be the feds. Like, we have actual problems impacting all black people in this country. All black people in this country. Like, you really think that they don't know the difference? You really think that these people know the difference between a native black American and a fucking Haitian? No, they don't. All they see is N-word. So, this bullshit, it has to be the feds. I don't know where this stuff comes from. But, yeah, don't fall for shit like this. There's plenty of reasons to hate Hakeem Jeffries, but put politics in command. Mizzou YDSA IRA presentation tomorrow. Ooh. Is tomorrow St. Patrick's Day? No, St. Patrick's Day is next week. But, Faith and Magora, I should get ready for that event tomorrow. Meaning, I should go to sleep. Everybody's grandma is part Irish. There's more Irish Americans than there are actual Irish people. But anyways, peace, free Mahmoud, find a